Okay, we're welcoming Gus of Zendegui Law Group. Gus,
Hi everyone.
I
I'm not sure. Can you see me now or no or yet or?
think we can see you fine. Um,
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone.
so Gus, we've been going through the thrust of this meeting is the market is moving, and we had a long
Yes.
talk, and I just want to talk about your experience. I know you're at home just now, but you've got your
Right.
office, right?
Yeah, I've actually been every single day. I have not missed one day at work. My office has been up and running every single day. Some of my staff has been in and out. Some people have been working from home. But for the last 2 weeks, I would say the majority of my staff, except one person that's on maternity leave, sort of, kind of, we've all been working from the office. So
Yeah, I've been to your office. There's plenty of space, so social
yeah,
distance
yeah.
is no problem.
Yeah, we feel comfortable. Everyone has their own independent office with a door that's shut. So I think they're safer there than at home, I think,
You
believe
were
it or
telling
not.
me business is up a little.
Yeah, for my specific business is up, and that has a lot to do, obviously, with the refi market, which, I mean, interest rates. I just saw a little blurb today on the news that interest rates are at, all-time lows again. So, I mean, that's spurring the refi market, which is, yeah, definitely keeping us busy. But, I mean, it's not the only thing we're doing. I mean, our investors are also keeping us busy. Some
Yeah.
people have been really active buying houses, and they're out there making deals. So I think there's a lot to be done. You could capitalize on it.
So people don't have to come to your office, so they can close other ways, mobile.
Right. Well, since January, Florida adopted what they call RON closing, which is remote online closing. We actually were one of the first to get, I guess, certified to do it, and we're authorized with 3 different providers. The issue is most lenders still are slow on adopting it. So the only closings you could really adopt these online closings is for investor closings or for seller docs. So that's been really helpful with sellers or when there's a transaction when there's no loan involved. And you do that just like almost like everyone knows DocuSign. It's very similar to DocuSign. It has some safeguards built in there. It's a little more provide some security in the sense that you need to be verified. They get your driver's license and then they use very specific questions to you. So if you try to use your dad's driver's license or a friend's driver's
All
license,
right.
you wouldn't know, like, where you live in 1992, or what was the color of your Ford Pinto, or all these questions are very specific to you. And so they once you're certified that you are who you are, the whole transaction is recorded and kept. I think it's for 20 years. Don't quote
Yeah.
me on that. It might be 15, 20 years. It's kept on a secure server that the company that's certifying the documents keeps independent of us. And so you get access to your whole transaction, 10, 15 years down the line, you could see you signing the document. So there's less chances where you have people say, oh, I wasn't at that closing, I didn't sign those documents. So from that perspective, it's helpful. But yeah, we're doing those kind of closings. Also, we're doing like drive-by closings, mobile closings, where like people drive in front of our office in their car, and we hand them the docs, or they print them out at home, and we see them execute them in their car, and we just grab them and notarize them from site. So
Pretty good.
those are 2 different COVID kind of adaptations that we've implemented recently. But obviously, there's still people that want to come to our office, and we're fine with that. We make everyone wear masks and obviously sanitize, and we have a secure closing room where we, Lysol the hell out of it before and after anyone comes in. But I mean, overall, most people have been very patient, and I think most people are very open to trying things, different ways of doing things. So I got to give a big thumbs up to most people in this town. I know everyone's always knocking Miami and Florida and saying, oh, we're a bunch of babies down here. But in reality, what I've seen is everyone pulled together in a lot of tough situations that been made better by people working together. So
So
gotta
the
really
investors were impacted though for a little bit.
right. And the investors are 2 different kinds of investors that I saw freaking out. It's like the novice investors that weren't
Right.
sure where the market was going, and they freaked out and they were trying to get extensions. And what I saw is most sellers were open to giving extension, and even most investors that were doing wholesaling and stuff like that. Everyone was willing to work to get the deal done. But I mean, there were certain investors or certain buyers that were freaking out and wanted to pull out of the deals. And in those cases, I think the only choice that investor had was to default them. And I had a few of those situations where they try to, I think you and I talked about
Yeah.
using, saying there was, some act of God, and like it was,
Yeah.
that they were entitled to cancel. And I mean, there's nothing on legally that's shown that that's the case. There's
Yeah.
no precedence for this.
I want to talk about that. We'll get to that, but let's talk about like the retail.
Forbearance.
Like we sell a lot to rehabbers, right? And rehabbers are, I don't want them stuck. I'm wondering, is this forbearance thing, is this going to create market for us? Is it just kicking the can down the road for future short sales?
I mean, I don't know. It could be the case, because where I think we're going to have an issue is a few months down the line, unless banks come up with another move here. It seems like what most of the lenders, or from what I've spoken to, is that the lender's saying, hey, we're going to, give you 5, 4, 6 months, whatever they agree to, of forbearance, which means you don't need to make your payments. But at the end of that time, you're going to need to come current on your loan. And obviously, if you can't make your payments now, I don't think in 6 months you're going to be able to come up with, a lump sum to make those payments. So if that isn't something that the lenders figure out, then I think it's going to create, I think we spoke about that at length the other day, a mini little foreclosure crisis, in the sense that, that these people are not going to have any other option but to be foreclosed on. And I'm sure they could try to bring this into a Chapter 13 in a bankruptcy and try to catch it up, but I'm not sure if that's an option we really want to explore here today.
Right.
Might be a little more complicated than we need to get.
So investors need to be on the lookout then for short sale deals in the future.
Yeah, I think we might be seeing that. I mean, I haven't seen like anything yet, like a bunch of filings or anything like that. The courts have been actually really quiet.
Right.
From what I understand, they're not doing in-person hearings at least until July. And then some judges have implemented Zoom hearings, but it's based on the judge and how they like to handle their own court. I haven't seen like an edict or anything from any court saying, hey, this is the way it's going to be done. It's been a hodgepodge kind of approach, and every single division is doing it a little differently. Some judges are embracing the telephonic hearings, others are kind of pushing to Zoom, but I haven't seen like a unified front from any court yet.
Well, so based on the financial crisis we had some years ago, the courts sort of upgraded and modernized. So even if we have a little mini foreclosure breeze, do you think that the courts will be overwhelmed, or do you think they'll handle it?
I think initially they might be a bit overwhelmed, but I think overall, I think they're ready. The systems are in place and to handle the volume. I mean, I don't think we're going to see anything like we did in 08. It's like a different force driving it now.
Yeah.
It's not like the systematic defaults because of all these people getting loans and multiple properties. I think it's mostly like actual people who are buying houses to live in it that are just can't afford them. It's not investors speculating on multiple properties that, they're buying properties hoping that they'll increase in value a year down the line and flip them. That's not what I think is driving this.
No, I agree.
Crisis is
you mentioned earlier defense
about the force majeure.
Yeah, were you talking about that? Have people tried?
Yeah,
that?
Force majeure is a legal theory in which that you can't perform the contract, that you want to perform the terms under the contract, but there's a force. It's land for, I guess it's land, but it's a force beyond your control that's prohibiting you from performing your contract. So a very common use force majeure is like there's a hurricane. So if there's a hurricane and you can't physically close because there's no power in the city, their banking systems is stalled. All this is a valid defense for a short extension. And most contracts nowadays have like clear language extending it if there's a named storm and all that. So what a lot of investors have been trying to do is use a force majeure to say, hey, the market conditions have changed and I shouldn't be required to purchase this property now. And I haven't seen anyone really holding that up. I don't think it's a viable defense, but I mean, some people have tried it with me, and I said I don't buy it, and my investors have said, no, that's not going to work for us.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, then they have used it to get extensions, which, I mean, I think that's something that's very debatable if it's a force majeure, because force majeure means that you can't but by these forces perform. And banks are open and deals are
Everybody's open. Everybody's working. Yeah.
everyone's working. So I think that's less of a concern now, and less of an excuse that you're going to see as as more time moves away from it.
Well, Gus, I know you work with a lot of investors, so tell us your outlook for investors at this point.
I think most people are hoping or expecting to see a little correction in the market, and I think everyone's like waiting for it, and I haven't seen prices fall. I haven't heard anyone seeing like prices fall anywhere. So I'm just curious to see when like the forbearance comes, all those forbearances come due in a few months, if that's going to turn into a little mini downward pressure on the market. And I think that'll be welcomed by many investors. I think the prices are a little steep at the moment. So I know a lot of people are on this, putting their reserves ready to come in and go hard. So I'm sure many people like that as well. But I mean, my crystal ball is a little cloudy these days. I'm just hoping that things, whatever direction it goes gradually and not a free for all, and it turns into chaos.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's just best to be prepared. This is still a good time to be an investor and be ready.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of investors that are just doing fantastic in this market. They're using the crisis to extract some concessions from their sellers.
I see.
And that's been very helpful. And that's a very strong position as a buyer. You go in and tell your seller, hey, I need another 10,000 off. The market conditions have shifted, and it doesn't make sense at the price we contracted for. Right. And they've seen movement. So I mean, the worst they can say is no. So you could always try it, obviously.
Exactly. Well, Gus, man, I'm glad you got a little day off early from the office.
Yeah.
Good to see you. You're looking good, and everybody's happy.
Everyone's fantastic, Jim.
All right.
Good. Are you guys? Everyone good?
Everything's good. We've got guys in the office. We're just everywhere. So thanks a lot.
Any guesstimation on when our next Dreia meeting will be, like a live one?
Hey, well, I don't know. I mean, you're going to be on. You're on the meeting now, but we'll see. I think probably it has to do with when they can have groups of over 100. That's our problem. The country club. Right now they can't have groups of over 50.
Okay, so it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a couple of months, I would say.
All right. Well, hey, this is the next best thing, I think.
That's right.
I'm glad. I wish everyone luck, and I hope everyone stays safe. And if you need anything, please reach out. We're always here to help.
All right. Thanks a lot, Gus. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Bye.
Bye.